Welcome to the party, pal. Your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos back with you once again for part 4, baby door, of our deep dive into the All the Haunts Be Ours box set here from Severin Films. And golly gosh, gumdrops, we're in for a treat today. We're talking about two films that I consider masterpieces, not just folk horror masterpieces, but just cinematic fucking landmark masterpieces that are gonna blow your minds. Don't believe me? Stick around. Also, stick around because at the end I'm gonna tell you how Severin botched this disc.
Back from the dead.
You heard me correctly, Severin did botch the disc, but you'll have to stick around to find out how. Now, let's crack into it. Disc 4 brings us two films, one from Russia, one from Czechoslovakia. One that I was familiar with and one that I was new to, but both are favorites now. First, let's start with the new one. That is Witchhammer. This, to me, is one of the big surprises of the box set. I'll be honest, Ice of Fire was as well, so most of the movies on here I'm new to, and I'm hoping that they're all as thrilling and rewarding and exciting as Witchhammer and Eyes of Fire proved to be. But what the hell is Witchhammer about? The first thing we learn is that a woman's womb is the gateway to hell. This indictment is played over footage of nubile young ladies taking baths, so hey, kicking off with boobies, how bad could this movie be? This, however, is a somber black and white drama about the realities of witch trials. And, in my estimation, the best film about witch trials ever made, because it doesn't go out of its way to elevate the material beyond its grounded, horrifying base realities. This Czechoslovakian film is a magnificent masterpiece that is not only masterfully directed, but represents the subject matter in an unflinching way, and it becomes impossible for the audience to look away. Also, it's all based on true fucking accounts, so that makes it even more terrifying. Running 1 hour and 46 minutes, Witchhammer is a sumptuous feast for the eyes, gorgeous black and white photography, excellent camera work, and just stunning, jaw-dropping, compelling performances throughout. Honestly, I wasn't expecting something this well made in this box set. Now that's on me, of course, coming in with preconceived notions as to what to expect, but coming from Severin, you never know what you're gonna get, honestly. This is a Criterion-level masterpiece, something that could be easily studied in film school. And between you and I, it should be. What really shocked me here was the subtle, deft hand the director used to tell this tale. It never goes full out Mark of the Devil crazy torture movie, but there are torture sequences and there are some pretty gruesome moments throughout the film. The movie, however, never really focuses on this. It never loses its true core, which is the drama, the human drama, the struggle going on between those who believe that the innocent are witches and the innocent who are literally fighting for their lives. This is easily a 5-star movie. I loved Witchhammer. It is a wonderful film, compelling from beginning to end. It never lets up. It's never boring, never dull, and it delivers the goods. Let's talk about the special features that you can only find when you select Witchhammer from the menu. While Witchhammer and the VIY share a disc, they do not share special features. So on the Witchhammer portion of the disc, you get a commentary track with Czech film historian Irina Kovarova. This mainly focuses on the making of the film and Czechoslovakian film history in general. It's very informative, but I wouldn't call it essential unless you want to dig deeper into the making of the film and the culture surrounding the film itself. Also included is a podcast, a projection booth podcast to be exact. This is played over the film like an audio commentary track, but it only runs about an hour and 2 minutes into the movie. Featured on the commentary track is host Mike White, Sam Deegan, who you are all familiar with, and Rana Alexander. It's fine, but it's essentially a podcast discussion about a movie while the movie plays. Next, we get a 22-minute featurette titled The Womb of Woman is the Gateway to Hell. This features Kat Ellinger, and it's essentially an audio essay that focuses on the strange marriage between paganism, feminism, and the political metaphors not only found in Witchhammer, but in similar films of the era. Excellent special features across the board. However, the winner for me is the Kat Ellinger featurette. That one, I think, is a must listen to. The rest, you know, if you really want to dig in deeper, then go with the Irina's commentary. The podcast, in my opinion, you could leave it. But overall, good features on this one. But let's talk about my probably favorite one on this disc, and the one that I was familiar with, and that is the VIY. Vicoma, a young seminary student, is waylaid one night by an old hag who he seemingly beats to death, only to have her transform into a young woman. When he returns to the seminary, he finds himself conscripted to perform 3 nights of scripture recitals over the grave of a young woman who has passed away and has requested him to keep vigil over her grave. This is the same young woman who first presented herself as an old hag to Vicoma, and as he prays over her coffin, he discovers her infernal powers, and that she may not be as dead as she appears. Running 1 hour and 16 minutes and straight out of Russia, the VIY is pure cinema magic. And cinema magic in the how the hell did they pull that off sense of the word? Because man, the practical effects on this thing are insane. And I'm not talking about just practical effects. There's plenty of practical monster effects and makeup and things like that. But technically on another level than most of the movies of this era. I honestly, I'm baffled how they were able to pull some of this shit off. It's kind of amazing. Coffins floating in the air effortlessly. I mean, one person floating around the room in such a sense that, like, there's the only way to explain it is that she's actually a fucking witch ghost. It's amazing. This is a wonderful goddamn movie, and one that I think is definitely worthy of your eyeballs. It's hard to pick, though, which one I like the best on disc 4, which is good. That's good. You want that. Both movies are great, but if they're very different cinema. So if you wanted a fantastical, more folk horror-y type of movie, then the VIY is your vibe. If you wanted a more down-to-earth, dramatic, serious, somber movie, then Witchhammer is where you go. But it's nice to have that choice, and it's nice that both movies are fucking great. Great, great, great. I honestly can't stress it enough. The VIY is a masterpiece. With simple cinema trickery and practical effects, this movie achieves jaw-dropping, smile-inducing moments that would make any fan of cinema, young or old, stand up and take notice. This movie is almost the definition of folk horror. I mean, I can't think of a better movie to define the genre. The final 10 minutes are a joyful explosion of practical effects that will leave anyone in the cinema with their jaws on the floor. A phantasmagorical nightmare right out of the best haunted houses. And cinematographers, please take note. This film has a quality of light that I've never seen before. The colors and textures here are exquisite and almost seem to exist only for this movie. Like I said, pure cinema magic. It's like looking at a horror poem come to life. This is the stuff creators aspire to create but rarely achieve. 5 stars. Hands down, this is a 5-star movie. So wonderful. Honestly, if you've never seen a Soviet film before, you're gonna fall in love. Honestly, if you've never seen a foreign film before, I think you're gonna fall in love. Honestly, if you like any kind of fantastical cinema, you're going to fall in love. The VIY is magical. I can see somebody maybe not being into Witchhammer. It's a little slow at times, although I find it completely compelling, but, to each their own. But the VIY is such a whimsical, lovely, perfect thing that I can't imagine anyone not liking it. Speaking of, let's talk about the special features. Just like Witchhammer, the VIY gets its own set of special features. We get a 34-minute featurette titled From the Words to the Cosmos, John Lehman Riley on the history of Soviet fantasy and sci-fi films. This is very interesting. It gives you a brief history of Russian folk and fantasy films, kind of like a mini Woodlands Dark, but specifically about Russian cinema. Very fascinating and definitely worth your time. Then you get a collection of short films, about 3 of them to be exact, and I will say this, they are silent and they have no music, so keep that in mind. They are really silent shorts. Now, remember in the beginning when I said the 7 botched the discs? Well, here we go. 3 short films. 2 of them are mislabeled. It's a small thing, I know, but I feel like something that probably should have been QC'd? I don't know. Let's talk about the shorts and then I'll tell you what they did. The first short is titled Satan Exultant. It runs about 6 minutes, and it's about a man who buys a creepy portrait that comes to life. It's worth a watch, but it's nothing out of this world. The second short is titled The Queen of Spades. It runs about 13 minutes, and it's about a young soldier named Herman who unwittingly causes the death of a local countess, and then she begins to haunt the young man and ruin his gambling streak with bad luck. The third short is titled The Portrait. It runs about 15 minutes, and this one's about the devil coming to a small town to tempt its citizens. This one begins and ends abruptly and kind of leaves you wanting. I would honestly skip it. It's not great. Now, I'm not sure if you caught that as I gave the titles out there. There's a short titled The Devil Exultant and one titled The Portrait. The Devil Exultant is about a portrait. The portrait is about the devil. There's no portraits in the portrait, and there's no devil in The Devil Exultant as labeled here. So, how did they botch the disc? They put the wrong names for the shorts.
Bullshit.
Small thing. It's a small thing, but I would call that a QC botch. So if you selected Devil Exultant, you would get the portrait. If you selected the portrait, you would get the Devil Exultant. Now, I don't know this for a fact because they don't have titles. The shorts don't have titles, but I just told you the plots. The portrait should be about a portrait. It's not. The Devil Exultant should probably have the devil in it. It doesn't. They are subtitled, of course. So when the interstitials come up, you know, in a silent movie, you'll get to read, so you'll sort of understand what's happening. But Queen of Spades is probably the most put together of the shorts here if you're going to watch any of them. But honestly, I don't think a lot of people are going to be checking out the shorts in general. I just found it funny that obviously it's a mistake. It happens, but it's a botch. I mean, let's call it what it is. They mislabeled the shorts here, and I think a lot of people aren't even going to notice because nobody's going to watch the shorts anyway, except for me, because I'm diving balls deep into this box set. That being said, that's a wrap on Disc 4, Episode 4 of the All the Haunts Be Ours Deep Dive Box Set Review. Mwah! Like my grandma always said, that boy's got a hell of a dingus. I'm enjoying my time with this box set. I hope you're enjoying your time going through the box set with me. Next up, Episode 5, Disc 5. I'm really looking forward to it. I believe it's Tilbury and Lake of the Dead, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited to check those out. Those will be first-time watches for me. That being said, let's call it a day. Remember to leave me a thumbs up on your way out the door. Subscribe if you haven't already. That way you and I get to hang out again, and I would love that very much. Also, I am on Letterboxd. A link in the description, or just look up Master Chaos TV. I'm the only one there. So follow along with me this year. I'm trying to chart how many movies I watch in a year. I'm marking everything down, and I'm reviewing everything. So you'll get a sneak peek of my thoughts of upcoming reviews if you follow me along there. For now, let's call it a day. I love you. I love you just the way you are. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. It's a crazy world. Let's try and be sane together. Until we meet again, signing off for now.